Let's talk about something that disturbs the minds of a lot of men. She was into you and then suddenly she wasn't. You replay every move you made, every message you sent, every date you went on, trying to figure out what you did wrong. But what if I told you it wasn't you at all? What if she lost interest, not because you failed, but because she was never really there for the right reasons? Welcome back to the channel where we cut through the nonsense and tell men what's really going on in the dating game. Today's video might challenge everything you thought you knew about women pulling away. Because the truth is, a woman losing interest doesn't always mean you messed up. It could mean she never saw you as anything serious to begin with. And most men completely miss this. See, a lot of guys get caught up thinking they said the wrong thing or moved too fast. But in reality, she was never emotionally invested. She was just passing time. Maybe you were her rebound. Maybe she liked the attention, not you. Or maybe she didn't even know what she wanted in the first place. This is where men fall into the trap. They start chasing harder, trying to fix the connection, but you can't fix something that was never built on something real. Today, I'm going to break down the real reasons. Women lose interest and why it often has nothing to do with you. You'll start seeing the signs sooner. You'll stop taking it personally. And most importantly, you'll stop wasting your time on women who were never really into you. Let's get into it, because once you understand what's actually happening, you'll stop blaming yourself and start moving like a man who knows his value. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just finished section 5 in the course, and you won't find this information on videos on my channel. It's easy to access with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or click the link in the description to enroll now and improve your dating life. She was using you to heal one. She was using you to heal. One of the biggest reasons a woman loses interest and men never see it coming is because she was never really in it for you. She was using you as a form of therapy. What does that mean? It means she was still hurt, confused, or emotionally scattered from a previous relationship. But instead of sitting with her pain, she ran to you. Not because you were special, not because she saw a future, but because you were a distraction, a bandage. A lot of women do this without even realizing it. When they get out of something toxic, painful, or long-term, they feel empty. They don't want to feel alone. So when a man shows up solid, attentive, interested, she clings to that energy. It feels good in the moment. But once she starts feeling better, once the emotional wounds begin to close, she doesn't need you anymore. And just like that, her interest drops. You start noticing she texts less. She's not as affectionate. She says things like, "I just need some space," or "I'm not ready for anything serious." But you were there when she cried about her ex. You were there when she needed comfort. You were consistent, loyal, and present. So why is she walking away? Because it was never about building something with you. It was about escaping something else. Let me show you what this looks like. You meet a woman who just got out of a 2-year relationship. She tells you up front, "It ended badly, but I'm over it." You believe her. Things move fast. She's calling every day, spending weekends with you, making you feel like you're the man. But after a few weeks, her energy changes. She starts pulling away. Suddenly she's confused. She says she's not ready. What really happened? She started to stabilize emotionally. The high she got from your presence faded. Her ex isn't haunting her thoughts anymore. And now that she can breathe again, she realizes you were just a part of the healing, not someone she truly wants to commit to. Men need to see this clearly. If she jumps into something with you too fast after a breakup and it all feels a little too intense early on, it's not passion, It's pain trying to find comfort. Don't get caught playing the therapist role and then wonder why she's gone the second she starts feeling like herself again. The moment you understand this, you'll stop asking, "What did I do wrong?" and start asking, "Was she even emotionally available to begin with?" And that changes everything. She liked the chase, not the man. 2, she liked the chase, not the man. This one's going to hit hard for a lot of men because it feels personal, even when it's not. She liked the thrill, not you. She was addicted to the feeling of being wanted, the attention, the mystery, the power. But the moment you gave her consistency, stability, and genuine interest, she got bored. A lot of women chase validation more than connection. In the beginning, when you're slightly unavailable or not fully invested yet, that's when she's all over you. She's texting back fast, making time, acting sweet, doing the most, because in her mind, she's winning something. She's proving she can get a man who's not easy to impress. But the second she wins you, when you start opening up, giving more, making it clear you're into her, that's when the dynamic shifts. Suddenly she's not texting back as fast. She stops putting in effort. She acts like something's off. And you're left wondering how the same girl who was blowing up your phone 2 weeks ago is now acting like you're bothering her. That's because her interest was never rooted in who you were. It was in the challenge, the emotional puzzle, the ego boost of pulling you in. And when that game ends, so does her excitement. You didn't change. You just gave her what she said. She wanted a real connection. But she didn't actually want that. She wanted the pursuit. She wanted to feel desired, not to build something meaningful. Here's what men get wrong. They believe that if a woman chases them hard, it must mean she's serious. But that's not always the case. For some women, the chase is the entire relationship. Once it's over, there's nothing left holding their interest. You'll recognize this type because she loses interest, right, when things are supposed to get better. Right? When the drama ends. Right when you think it's time to grow together. She pulls back, starts complaining about not feeling it, and makes you think you did something wrong. The truth, you didn't do anything. You just stopped being a challenge. This doesn't mean you should play games or act cold all the time, but it does mean you need to recognize when a woman is more excited by the pursuit than by your presence. You'll save yourself from getting too deep with someone who's not even built for anything real. So if she was all over you when you were uncertain and uninterested, the second you gave her clarity, she liked the chase, not the man. And that's not on you. That's a pattern you learn to recognize and avoid. She was never emotionally available. 3, she was never emotionally available. This one is a silent killer. She was never emotionally available in the first place. And you know what makes it hard to see? She looked available. She smiled. She opened up a little. She went on dates, laughed at your jokes, maybe even got physical. But beneath all of that, her heart was never in it. Most men don't notice this until it's too late. Because when you're into her, you focus on her actions, not her emotional presence. You think, she's here, she's talking to me, she must be invested. But emotional availability isn't about being physically present or having surface-level conversations. It's about whether or not she's really open to building something real. Some women walk around emotionally shut down and they don't even realize it. Maybe it's from past trauma, maybe they're jaded, maybe they've built a wall so high that even they forgot it's there. So when you come in with genuine energy trying to connect, it feels good for a moment, but then she pulls back. She's inconsistent. She gives you mixed signals, and deep down you start feeling like you're chasing someone who keeps slipping through your hands. It's not you. She's just emotionally unavailable. You try to be patient. You think maybe she just needs time, but emotional unavailability isn't about timing. It's about capacity. If she doesn't have the emotional space for a relationship, Nothing you do will change that. You can't love someone into readiness. You can't talk her into vulnerability. If she's emotionally closed, she'll shut the door, no matter how soft you knock. What's worse is that some women actually want the attention and the closeness, but without the responsibility of real intimacy. They enjoy the idea of love, but not the work. So they stick around just enough to keep you invested, but never truly let you in. It's the emotional version of being led on. And the longer you stay, the more confused you get. You start questioning yourself. You wonder why she's distant, why she avoids deep conversations, why she seems checked out whenever things get serious. You start thinking, maybe you're the problem, but the reality is she was never available to begin with. Men need to stop ignoring the signs. If she can't be vulnerable, if she avoids accountability, if she deflects real conversations or shuts down emotionally during conflict, she's not available. And no amount of effort or loyalty on your part will unlock her. Recognize it early. If you feel like you're doing all the emotional heavy lifting, you're not in a relationship, you're in a performance, walk away from women who aren't ready. You're not here to fix her. You're here to build something real with someone who's actually present, not just physically, but emotionally too. Her ego got what it wanted. 4. Her ego got what it wanted. Sometimes a woman doesn't lose interest because of who you are, but because her ego already got what it came for. This is the part most men don't understand. You think you're building a connection. You think you're bonding. But in her mind, the game already ended. She got your attention. She got your validation. She got the win. And now there's nothing left for her to gain. So she checks out. It sounds cold, but this happens more often than you'd believe. Some women are driven more by how you make them feel about themselves than by how they feel about you. When you first show interest, her ego lights up. She feels desirable, powerful, chosen. And the more effort you put in texting, calling, showing up, the more her ego eats it up. But once your interest is secure, once you start giving your energy without hesitation, that ego boost fades. She already got the affirmation she needed. I can get this guy. And now, with her confidence inflated, she's mentally out the door. She's not trying to get to know you deeper. She's not trying to build anything. She's satisfied with knowing she could have you. That's why the shift feels so sudden. 1 minute, she's interested, the next minute, she's cold, and you're stuck wondering if you did something wrong. But the reality is, she was only in it long enough to feed her ego. Once she felt validated, the motivation to stay disappeared. This is why some women lose interest right after you compliment them, open up, or become more emotionally available. Not because you turned them off, but because the chase was never about love. It was about self-worth. Once her ego got what it needed, your presence became less important. You'll feel it when it happens. The conversations lose spark. The replies get shorter. The tone changes, not because of anything dramatic, just a slow fade out. It's not a breakup, it's a withdrawal, because her ego is already satisfied, and now she doesn't feel the need to keep engaging. And here's the truth that stings. This has nothing to do with your value as a man. You didn't do anything wrong by showing interest, but you did offer it to someone who wasn't looking for connection. She was looking for attention. There's a big difference. This is why you have to protect your energy. Stop handing out validation like candy. Pay attention to what a woman does once she has your interest. Does she reciprocate? Does she stay curious about who you are? Or does she start acting like your presence is no longer exciting? Because if all she wanted was to feel chosen, then once she gets that, she's gone. Not because you changed, but because her ego got what it came for. She thought she could do better. 5. She thought she could do better. This is one of the most brutal truths a man can face. She lost interest because she thought she could do better. It doesn't mean you weren't good. It doesn't mean you were weak. It means she looked at what you offered, and somewhere in her mind she believed she had more options. A lot of men don't realize that women are constantly comparing, even if they don't say it's social media attention from other guys the way her friends talk about their relationships. It all creates this illusion that there's always something better out there, more exciting, more successful, more dominant. So even if you're consistent, loyal and present, she might start pulling back. Not because you failed, but because she got greedy. And the worst part, she won't always tell you. She'll make excuses. She'll say she's just not ready or needs to focus on herself. But in the background, she's already looking around. She's already halfway out, entertaining the idea of someone she thinks could be a step up. And in her mind, that fantasy feels more exciting than the reality of what she has. You could be doing everything right and still watch her drift away, not because of what you lack, but because she's chasing something that doesn't exist. A perfect option, that's the dangerous part. Some women fall into this pattern where they're never satisfied, always thinking the next guy will be better, richer, stronger, more alpha, but they don't realize until it's too late that what they left was already solid. Let's be real. Maybe you've seen this happen. You were dating her. Things were going well. Then she started acting distant, colder, less engaged. A few weeks later, she's with some other guy. You see him, maybe he's louder, flashier, looks more confident. She's posting him everywhere. She thought she upgraded, but give it time and reality hits her. The guy's a walking red flag, or he's playing her. Now she's confused again, reaching back out, liking your stories, testing the waters. Why? Because what looked better from a distance didn't feel better up close. The key lesson here is this: don't take it personally when a woman bets on someone else. That's her choice. That's her risk. You don't chase her. You don't try to prove your worth. You step back and let her face the consequences of her decision, because if she truly thought she could do better and left you to find out, let her. She may come back. She may not. But either way, it's not your job to be her safety net when her fantasy crumbles. Your value doesn't go down because she couldn't recognize it. In fact, that's where your real power begins, when you stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing yourself. Social media gave her options. 6. Social media gave her options. One of the biggest reasons women lose interest today isn't because of anything you did. It's because she thinks she has endless options. And you can thank social media for that. We live in a world where attention is currency. A woman posts a picture, and within minutes she's flooded with likes, DMs, heart emojis, compliments. Most of those guys don't even know her, but they're lining up virtually to make her feel wanted. Now think about what that does to someone's mindset. If she's constantly being told she's beautiful, amazing, and wifey material by complete strangers, how long do you think she'll stay grounded? How long before she starts believing that no matter who she's dating, there's probably someone better? Just a message away. This is what most men don't understand. You're not just dating her. You're dating her online attention too. You might be loyal, consistent, and emotionally present. But if she's hooked on the validation she gets from dozens of guys she's never met, your effort starts to feel boring to her. You become familiar, predictable, while all those messages in her inbox are exciting, mysterious, and full of fantasy. She starts comparing not based on reality, but based on potential. That's what social media does. It gives her the illusion of constant opportunity. Even if she's in something good, she's tempted by the thought that maybe she's settling too soon. And here's the twisted part. Some women don't even want those other guys. They just want to know they could have them. It's not about connection. It's about power. The more options she sees, the more valuable she feels. And the moment you become too safe, she starts to pull away. Not because you failed, but because your effort doesn't give her the same rush as the unknown. Your consistency doesn't give her the same dopamine hit as a new admirer sliding into her DMs. This is the new game, and most men are playing by old rules. You used to think that if you were a good man, stable, loyal, respectful, that would be enough. But now you're competing with attention spans that have been destroyed by likes, reels, and swipes. If she's addicted to the chase, the chaos, the fantasy that there's always something better out there, then nothing you do will hold her attention for long. This doesn't mean you stop being a good man. It means you stop bending over backwards, trying to hold someone who can't sit still. You stop personalizing her distraction. Because when social media becomes her main source of self-worth, real connection starts to feel dull in comparison. And that's not your fault. That's a battle she has to fight within herself. You just need to recognize when her interest isn't real. It's just temporarily louder than her notifications. You didn't feed her drama. Addiction 7. You didn't feed her drama. Addiction. Some women don't know how to function without emotional chaos. If things are peaceful, steady and calm, they get restless. They confuse comfort with boredom and they start pulling away. Not because you were lacking anything as a man, but because you weren't giving her the emotional roller coaster. She's addicted to, let's be real. Some of you are losing women, not because you're weak, but because you're stable. And that stability doesn't excite her. Not if she's used to dysfunction. Not if every past relationship was full of fights, games, hot and cold, energy, jealousy, and constant highs and lows. When you come in with clarity, self-control, and emotional intelligence, it's so foreign to her she doesn't know what to do with it. So instead of appreciating it, she tunes out. That's the part men have to wake up to. Some of you are trying to build with women who are addicted to chaos. You think if you just stay calm and consistent, she'll eventually see your value. But in her mind, the lack of drama feels like something's missing. And instead of realizing it's peace, she labels it as a lack of spark. This is why she starts picking fights over nothing. Why she tests you constantly. Why she pushes your buttons and creates tension that doesn't need to exist. She's trying to stir up an emotional reaction because that's what she's used to. That's what makes her feel alive. It's toxic, but it's familiar. And if you're not careful, you'll fall into that trap. You'll start doubting yourself. You'll think, maybe I'm being too boring. You'll feel the pressure to become more reactive, to start playing games just to keep her attention. That's when you lose your edge as a man. Here's the reality. You're not boring because you don't argue. You're not boring because you don't play emotional ping pong. You're not boring because you bring peace. You're healthy. And if she doesn't recognize that, that's on her, not you. But here's the criticism. You have to stop romanticizing her dysfunction. Stop chasing women who only respond to tension. That's not passion. That's emotional immaturity. And the longer you stay in that cycle, the more it drains you. You start to shrink yourself to keep her engaged, and you lose sight of what you're really worth. Your job isn't to entertain chaos. Your job is to lead, to bring direction, peace, and strength. If she can't handle that, let her go chase the next emotional high. You're not here to be her emotional punching bag or her temporary excitement. Wake up. If she lost interest because you didn't feed her drama addiction, that's a win, not a loss. Never lower your standard just to keep someone who's not ready for a real man. Conclusion. Here's something most guys don't want to admit. Sometimes the woman who lost interest in you was never meant to stay because she was only drawn to what you could do for her, not who you actually are. That's not rejection, that's release. A lot of men waste time chasing women who never had the emotional depth or maturity to build anything real. They take the silence personally. They internalize the sudden distance. But what if her pulling away wasn't a failure on your part, but a sign she was never in your league to begin with. You've got to stop letting a woman's interest define how you see yourself. Her leaving doesn't always mean you need to change. Sometimes it means you need to upgrade your standards. I know some of you have lived this. I know how confusing it is when everything seems to be going well and then it's not. So I want to hear from you. Drop a comment about what you've experienced. I read them, I reply, we build from this together. You're not just watching some guy talk on a screen. I've been where you are, and I built this space to make sure you never feel stuck, confused, or alone in this game again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.